What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to your daily dose of transfer news, 9 a.m. specials. That is what we do here at United View. New show. You lot requested it. You lot enjoyed it. You lot left the feedback. So we are here to do it. I'm just going to get straight into this, though. Straight into it off the bat. We normally we have a little bit of a laugh, Owen, and we get into some stuff. We will do that. But I feel with this one,
you didn't laugh at me. You didn't laugh at me today.
You didn't laugh at me. You didn't
Yeah.
laugh at me. And this one is like a real, really
Early morning Zoom.
Early morning Zoom. I like that, man. Early morning Zoom show. 35 million timber bargain. Exercise serious caution here. Exercise serious caution here. That's what I would say. Because Ekrem Kona, who's a journalist out there in Holland, I believe, has said that and covers news from all over the world. I believe he's from Holland. He says that Erik ten Hag wants to transfer his former footballer Jurrien Timber to Manchester United, which we know, but Ajax want 35 million euros for the 20-year-old. 35 million euros. Obviously, if that was the case, I must stress there's not loads of people saying this. This isn't all over the place. This is just something that caught my eye, and I thought that's worth talking about. A little bit on Ekrem Kona. It's followed by quite a lot of credible people. But it doesn't feel right, that one. 35 million for Timber. Obviously, it's a bargain. Frank Lucas said he's worth 35 million. I don't know. Owen, what do you think about that?
It's surprising, certainly. I mean, if you talk to any of the Ajax fans or the guys from We Talk Ajax, or anyone that's watched Timber on a regular basis this season, or the feeling you get of people in the club, what they feel about him, they talk about him like a player that's worth way more than 35 million. I was under the assumption that if we were going to buy Jurrien Timber, it'd be costing us maybe, I don't know, 50, 45, maybe a bit more than that. You have to remember, this is euros as well. So we're looking at maybe like 30 million quid. Not much. It's early, so I don't know about my conversion rates here, but around 30 million quid, something like that. So that one is surprising, especially when you compare him to other players that have left Ajax in the past, because I think what some people might be saying is, well, Ajax, with all due respect, selling club, part of their philosophy, build the player up, come through the academy, whatever. And then when they have the deal to be made available to them, it's profitable for the club, profitable for the player. They're not going to stand in that player's way. You would think, okay, well, if they are somewhat of a selling club, then maybe they'd be interested in, in that kind of fee. But I then look at deals that they did for the likes of Jong and De Ligt. Granted, people will say, well, they're way better players than Timber, and they were getting Champions League semi-finals, and they were beating the likes of Real Madrid and the Bernabeu, so that's different kind of standard. But I look at De Jong joining Barca in 2019 for 75 million euros. I look at that same summer, De Ligt joining Juventus for that same price tag, 75 million euros. Now, I'm not saying that, Timber's going to be worth 75 million euros. That would be way too much. But like you, I saw that one and it was an eyebrow raiser. Now, it must be said, if that is accurate, what are we waiting for? if that's the price that is legitimately quoted, if they say to Manchester United, Ajax, or Edwin van der Sar, whoever's doing those negotiations with, I guess it would be Murtough and Fletcher, they go, look, we're interested in Timber, and Ten Hag's going, yep, I've spoken with the player as well. He's interested in coming. Let's talk cheddar. And they go, probably looking at 35 million euros. You'd be like, yeah, fine, yeah, do it, yeah, fine, no problem. You know what I mean? That's what I think. You're muted, by the way, Flex.
So I muted myself when I was drinking my drink. Didn't want to be slurping my teeth down everyone's ears. I forgot to turn it back on. Victor says, people seem to forget he's only 19. There are still many unknowns of him, so it makes sense to value him for only £30 million. That's the bit I was going to get onto, because actually, obviously everyone's saying how highly tipped he is and how good he is. And, the Ajax fans have showed us that. And, a lot of Man United fans know how good he is and what a prospect he is. He is still only 19. He has only still been playing, and that's what I'm saying, getting up the stats here, for a couple of years at that level. if we're being honest, you know. I think last year he played. Sorry, this year he's played obviously his most amount of games, 43 games in all comps. Obviously won the league at Ajax. And then the season before, was he even at Ajax? Yeah, he was. He's on the bench quite a bit. But in and out and played 34 games. So, you know, it's still only his going into his third season at the top. He's quite young. I think what Anthony says here, he's quite young. 35 million is just the kind of signing we should be doing to maximize our transfer budget. Definitely the price. Let's get that clear. If he is 35 million, yeah. I think maybe we just kind of overpriced him, or are we getting it wrong? Should he be is he like unknown entity 35 million?
I did just see this in the chat, and it is very true. How much did we buy Donny van der Beek for?
Yeah,
it was about
like
40 million euros.
40,
yeah. So
yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, you would go, well, actually, Timber probably hasn't achieved as much as, say, Donny did, or definitely hasn't when he was at Ajax. So if you were going to sort of compare, and that's the problem with sometimes football transfers, is it's very difficult to compare because one transfer fee will be way high and you go, that's a great deal. And you compare it to another one for, say, a lesser player, that makes no sense at all. So that's the difficult thing with transfers. But maybe that's a good point. Maybe you do look at a player like Donny and go, actually, he went for about 40 million euros. Timber hasn't done as much and he's younger. Maybe 35 is right. Maybe, like you said, Flex, maybe we have sort of overhyped this. Maybe that's the valuation that they have. But maybe that's it. And look, if that is the case, then I will absolutely give massive credit to United for identifying a quality player at a good price and hopefully doing that deal. That's what we've been saying, because we have to get so many players. Maybe that's why United are so interested in him, not just because of the Erik ten Hag factor. Maybe that's part of it. Erik ten Hag, and I know the player,
the value in the deal.
We've got a relationship. But yeah, exactly. They go, in terms of an economic deal, that's good value for money. The risk there is pretty low because the player knows the coach, he knows the tactics, and the money's there. It's good value for money. And that's a deal that, if it is accurate, that United should absolutely be making. And it's one of those ones that even if Timber did come to United for that price and he didn't set the world like the first season, the response would be, it costs like, 30 million quid.
Yeah. And that fits into what everybody is saying, that, and everybody is on the same page, as we need to find transfers with value. We need to find young players who are on an upwards trajectory, who have a lot to prove, who we can turn into, that world-class mold if we want to get back to where we was. How many times have we said that before? We want to buy players on the up. Sancho, age-wise, falls into that, but had proved quite a bit, to be fair to him, in such a young age. But he still fits that profile of, he's got gears to go up. You go to Dortmund, even though United is somewhat of a sideways step, if not a downward step from Dortmund in this current thing.
Do you reckon that's why maybe we think about the money like that then? Do you reckon because just sort of nowadays maybe we associate sort of young, I want to say prodigies, that's too much, but those sort of really young up-and-coming players that a lot of people go, oh, they might be really good. We just associate them with super, super high price tags, when in reality, like you said, actually, maybe that's actually for a select few. We're talking about a defender from the Eredivisie who's 20 years old. Maybe he should be 35 million euros. Maybe but that's what it is. Before 50 is too much.
Yeah, if you take the sensationalism away from it, in terms of our gas and our hype, and someone like KG who watched him over 90 minutes and was sold.
Yeah.
If you take that away, you say it like, okay, he's at the very early stages of his career. Like, he hasn't proved everything yet, and nor should he have at 19.
No.
But 35 to 40 million, you're probably saying, The only thing I would come back with to counter that, and this is from kind of just being respectful to the Ajax fans and Ajax, a player is usually only worth the impact they have on your team. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so what I'm saying is in theory, yes, with everything, I agree with what I just said, if you get what I mean. Like, he's inexperienced, very far. But I am going to contradict myself a little bit, because if you're a selling team, you say, okay, I know like 35 million inexperience, but we've seen him for 2 seasons and know what trying to replace him in our system would be. and we value him higher than that. Do you know what I mean? And we know you really need him. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, I know it's a different parameter, but like when Jack Grealish went for 100 million, we're saying, no, that's ridiculous, stupid. And I agree, but it's just worth what the selling team.
I've said that with the Grealish one before.
You know I mean?
Legitimately, with the Grealish one, like I said, Jack Grealish is not a £100 million player, but he was worth 100 million to Aston Villa in terms of the impact, in terms of he kept them in the Premier League, which is worth more than 100. Which is worth more than 100 million. So that's I think where that kind of deal comes from. I mean, maybe as well, considering his age, it could be a case of, okay, it is going to cost you 30 million quid, 35 million euros or whatever, but maybe there is more to be added on afterwards. We believe in this player so much that if you do win the league in a couple of years or whenever, you have to pay us an extra 10. If you do win, if you qualify for the top 4 this season, you're going to have to give us another 10, all that kind of stuff. I said before, and this is my sort of as reckless as I'll go, that when we agreed the fee for Erik ten Hag, we didn't pay the compensation clause. We paid more. I think that was kind of a good faith gesture, as if to say, look, that he's going to want some of your players. Now, we're not saying that this fee covers bringing those players in. We just say, look, maybe we get first refusal. Maybe we get more of an open sort of conversation. Maybe we can be at the front of that queue, that kind of situation. So maybe there is a bit of good faith going on between Manchester United and Ajax right now, especially with people like Edwin van der Sar there as well. And who knows? It's like you said, when you see that fee, just in modern football, you see 35 million euros, you go, that's cheap, because football transfers nowadays aren't cheap. But when you do take a step back and think about it, you do sort of say to yourself,
is it that mad? Is it that nuts?
Maybe that's about right.
Maybe. Yeah, and definitely I agree. If that is the case, let's get it done. Adam Parker says, a bit like West Ham with Rice, Flex. Yeah, exactly. They see him as he's worth 100 plus to them. European semi-final with him, and he's spearheaded them, and he's the main man. He's the main man. Do you know what I mean? And obviously he's English, which changes everything. So, but a lot of people saying, if that's the case, pay it. While I've got your attention, guys, smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and remember, we are having our 100k subscriber party in person, in the flesh, in London, in London's famous O2 at Tocker Social. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be on the decks. I've got some other DJ friends coming down, spinning some tunes, 100%. We've got interactive football games as well. If you don't know what Tocker Social is, have a look. In fact, I should probably put a link to that in the video description below. It's a link to Tocker's thing, which I will do. But the links to the tickets are in the box, in the comment box below, in the description box. Click that, get your tickets. 19th of June. We will see you there, 7 p.m. till 1 a.m. So would love to see you guys. David Lee says party. We'd love to see you guys just, in person, supporting us and get to chill out with you lot, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with KG. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Cam's going to be there with KG.
Cam's going to be there. Well, that's what I think my main job's going to be, is kind of separating them, acting a bit of as sort of a peace mediator. But even if not, buy tickets for that. People have been saying KG and Cam boxing, fight. It's going to happen.
At the O2 as well. 19th. Could be the dress rehearsal.
Yeah. June 19th. So come and see that.
Yeah, could be a dress rehearsal. So there you have it on the Timber situation. Early reports of 35 million euros bargain, but then we've basically discussed, is it that much of a bargain? And we've kind of come to the conclusion of it is a bargain, but actually, if you think about it, it kind of does fall into what he should be, about 40 million.
What's your feeling now, Flex? If I had to sort of press you on it and you said yes or no, do you reckon we're going to sign Timber? I know it's early.
It's very early,
and in transfer
the transfer window that hasn't actually opened yet. I got better vibes about Timber than I do on De Jong, and than I do on Anthony. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I agree.
Not nowhere near. So what did I say? I was like, I think De Jong and Timber. I think yesterday I was like 165 and 155. I think I said, didn't I?
Yeah, on your transferometer.
On my transferometer, I think Timber. I don't think this has made me go up from the 65. I don't think it's not that. I just think it's the same.
Yeah, my feeling's the same as it was yesterday with it. I do think that out of these players we're linked to, I think Timber's the most likely. The De
Yeah.
Jong one, I'm not as confident as other people. I'll be really honest. I'm confident that De Jong's going to leave Barca. I'm not totally confident that he's going to go to Manchester United. I think people are assuming that's if he leaves Barca, he's going to United. That is not a given. If his priority is really, really Champions League football, that really isn't a given. Eric Ten Hag's got to go on a massive charm offensive. He's going to be like on a Tinder first date. Okay, he's trying to sell himself to De Jong. Okay, if he wants to come to Manchester United, the Anthony one. I agree with what you were saying yesterday to KG. I do think, even though I'm talking about good faith between Manchester United and Ajax, I do think there is a limit to how many players they will give us, plus their manager. Like, let's be honest.
Everyone just thinks it's a bring and buy sale. We take them all.
A player and a coach, okay, people would go, man, they're really going after Ajax, but that happens, right? A player goes, manager goes from one club to another, and then they go back to their old club. There's a precedent out there for that. A player, or two players rather, plus the coach, plus an ex-player, that's a lot. You know, and also, I mean, I don't know if this is even out there or if it's true, but logic would suggest also that if Barcelona were to sell to us, there's no way Ajax don't have a bit of a kickback fee from Frankie de Jong. You don't sell a young player for 75 million euro and have some kind of little bit of, yeah, if he gets sold, we get, you know, a percentage of that transfer fee, right? So maybe we're going to be paying Ajax 3 times over the summer. Could you imagine?
Oh God,
they'll love us.
Yeah, because definitely with the things they would have put on the deal to Barcelona, it's if you sell him for X, then we get 10% or whatever, 100%. They haven't just given him away after making him. Well, on to Frankie de Jong. There were some reports last night that were talking about the difficulty at Barcelona.
Oh, imagine being a Barca fan.
I know, it's just so uncertain all the time. I mean, they have rebuilt really well, to be fair to them, considering where they was with Xavi. He's going in the right direction, but there's still the financial situation still looms over them, and I think we forget that, which seems to be a key factor in this, a key driving force, as well as Eric Ten Hag knowing him so well, is a key. This is a key driving force in this Frankie de Jong deal. The fact that they need financial stability. And this was a quote from FC Barca One last night, quite a credible outlet out there in Spain. Again, followed by a lot of credible people, and usually put out some big stuff. Barca urgently need liquidity. At the moment, they cannot pay the players' salaries, which are due in June. The sporting staff is waiting for the club to seal big economic deals soon. So, I mean, you hear that, and look, we know. I think this one's a bit more clear because we know that they've been in trouble. It's a well-known fact. That's not speculation. Yeah. That's not. We saw, depending on who you talk to, the best player ever in Messi, if that's your opinion, have to leave the club because they couldn't afford to have him, and the Liga went. Plus
Griezmann went as well. You know, there was, plenty
they had to get Coutinho off the books. You know, he was on big wages. You had to see. It's all there for us to see. We all saw it. They haven't recovered from that in 1 year. That was only last summer. They still got to keep gutting out. They've still got to, get the wages all sorted and get different transfers in. They want to bring in Lewandowski. We know that. They are bringing in Christensen. We know that. So, when they could, exactly. They couldn't even register Sergio Aguero at the beginning when he went there. Do you remember?
No, all the players
had to wait of a way
they
to
had
even get them on.
Yeah. All the players, even when they got like Aubameyang in January, every single time they buy a player, it comes down to like the deadline for registration, and either someone has to leave, someone has to take like a PK. I think he's probably on like 95% reduction of his original wage that he was on previously. Half the team has taken pay cuts. Now, people can say, well, cry me a river. They're all multimillionaires anyway. But the point is that it speaks to the wider financial turmoil that is Barcelona. And we're getting to the same point as it was last year. Around the summer last year, everyone realized that these bills were coming due and these salary caps were there, and they went, we're in massive trouble. And because of that, they couldn't, Messi's contract expired. They couldn't get, he agreed a new deal, but they couldn't register him because it was too much. And they went, what are we going to do? And it would appear that's a similar situation now. And I think the really interesting part of that report, Flex, is where it says that the sporting staff are waiting on the club to seal big economic deals soon. Now, you could say, well, what does that mean? Well, I read it and say big economic deals looks to me to be we're going to have to sell a player or a couple of players for big money to free up wages and to put, transfer fees back into the club. Also, you look at it as those big economic deals when it comes to incomings as well as kind of we're looking at free transfers. We've got to seal these big free transfers and then we can, get rid. So the talk about like the Lewandowski deal, once that's done, then they might look at, okay, we've got the total financial package here. Now, what do we have to get rid of to actually facilitate the Lewandowski deal to come in? And that might be selling Frankie de Jong. So it does tie in nicely to the Frankie de Jong deal. It still, though, doesn't change Frankie de Jong's doubts about Manchester United. And I think that's a really important thing to put out there as well, that Frankie de Jong's doubts about coming to United because they don't have Champions League football don't change because Barcelona can't pay his wages. He would still have those doubts. It probably is a boost in terms of he's going to leave the club or is likely to leave the club. He might be one of those sacrificial lambs, but he still wants to play Champions League football. That doesn't change, does it not?
He does want to play Champions League football, exactly. And that's where Man United as a club almost need to tap out and say, over to you, Eric. Like, we've sat with Frankie. Do you know what I mean? We've sat with Frankie and said, we can give you this. We can assure you of this. Like contractually, money and add-ons and appearances and image rights and all the things that are technical sitting down with the agent. When it comes to that final push and that final kind of sprinkle on top of the cake to get Frankie de Jong, it's got to come from Erik ten Hag. It's got to, because, United is in transition. We're in the mud. We are not going to be competing for top honours. Any player who comes to Man United, don't get me wrong, as a professional for integrity purposes, will have ambitions of winning the top trophies. You don't just go there and say, well, we're definitely not going to win anything. So I get it. You're a professional. You're training every day. You're in the back of your head, even if you don't say it out loud because you know how it might come across. Within the dressing room, you all believe you can win. Cool. That's fine. But if you know where Man United are right now versus Liverpool versus City, even if Chelsea get it right with the basis they've got, you're behind them. And we're behind a lot of others as well. But, that's where Ten Hag needs to sell him that on a personal, like, listen to me, bro. Forget all the noise. It's just me and you on this call. Like, me and you.
I was going to say, who else gets involved in that charm offensive, do you think? Do you think it's just Ten Hag? Do you think it's Ten Hag, Murto? Do you think it's Donny?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you even go to Cristiano? Hey, it'd be great if you could pick up the phone.
Bro. I'm saying Ten Hag's the main driving force, but obviously the others still got to do their job. Like if Murto's, leading negotiations, even if it's Fletcher, I get confused now if he's still in that role. But if he's been paid to do that, people can say, he ain't going to listen to Dan Fletcher, get him out of there. I see what you're saying, but if it's still his job to do it, they all need to sit down together as a group when they sit down with Frankie, with Ten Hag kind of. I imagine a meeting or a Zoom with Ten Hag is the admin. He's the leader, talking. Then Murto chips in, Darren Fletcher chips in. Oh, we're just going to play you a pre-record from Ronaldo. They just drop that in the slide PowerPoint. Do you know what I mean? And then after that, after they close the meeting, Ten Hag then rings him back. Said, "What do you think of that?" So I mean, we're trying to build, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Completely made up. But that's just in my head.
But again, if you're looking at the charm offensive, that's what you need to do. And you need to say to Donny, look, you're really good friends. You share the same agent. Talk to your agent.
But also with Donny's got to be careful, though. He's got to be careful.
What's he going to say?
What's he going to say? Lie. You got to say, listen, Donny.
Well, so if you're Eric,
you got to convince Donny first. You got to
have the conversation with Donny first. Exactly. You convince him first. You do the exact same thing. You get a meeting. You do the exact same thing. You get Ronaldo on. Donny, great to have you back. Things are going to change here. He comes out of that meeting, brilliant, and he goes, "Hey, Donny, give Frankie a call." Yeah, and he goes, "Okay, yeah, great." Then he calls him and goes, "Oh, it's great here." He goes, "I thought you were struggling a little bit when you were on at Everton." Different time, mate. Different time. Eric's here. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Brilliant. And then eventually when Frankie does show up, Carrington's on fire and he goes, You lied to me. You lied.
Something like that, because we've got to get our shit in order. If we're gonna tap players up, not tap them up, it's illegal. But if we're gonna go after players, and use our weapons, you got to use the weapons in the right order. We need Donny on side. The first thing Erik ten Hag needs to do when he gets in here because we need him to even talk to Anthony, maybe talk to Timber. He needs to talk to a lot of people. So he's
Yeah.
like the little recruit. But he's had a shit time. If he
It's
speaks,
very difficult.
I'm surprised Ten Hag even came.
I know.
Yeah, you remember when Gary Neville was talking about, well, it's a tough place. Can you imagine the likes of Donny van de Beek? He won't be very complimentary talking to Ten Hag when he picks up the phone, says, "What's it like over there?"
Yeah. Or Van der Sar, when Donny got his low move to Everton, and he put on Instagram, he put, happy to join Everton. He was like, hopefully you have a bit of better luck at a club in the Northwest this time.
Exactly.
That's a CEO. That's a CEO of Ajax.
Bro. Fact. Tyrone Butler, thanks for the super chat. Tyrone says, Nkunku, Timber, Tchouameni, De Jong, perfect summer. What do you think, lads? Big up. I mean, that'd be perfect. That'd be amazing. We do need. I still think. Oh yeah, you said Timber. Do like Anthony, but okay, cool. De Jong, but yeah, Nkunku, yeah. But I mean, Owen was saying about that 9 though. Owen wants an actual 9 as opposed to an Nkunku type, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I want an actual striker. Because I'm tired of the. Is he a striker? We could put him on the left. Facilitate. No. Let's enough of that. Let's get the striker in. And again, I do look at that one, and it is great. But I look at De Jong, 65, Tchouameni, like 70, 80. Timber 35, and well, they're saying like 75 for him, So I mean, that's just its price, isn't it? That's the issue with that one.
Yeah,
Tchouameni, they reckon might be going to Liverpool as well.
I know. Fucking hell, Liverpool, man.
He's a
player. Don't need no one else, man.
But they're in the position as well, Liverpool, at this point, is that their squad is so good that they legitimately can just buy one player a summer. That's all they need.
Easy. That must be amazing to have such a settled set of players.
That's what United used to be.
You just sprinkle, and some of them you just spray. You're buying for the bench. You buy them just for interchanging, and then if they might surprise you throughout the season. Then they start having a few more, like the Jota thing. Oh, you surprised me. You can start over Mane a little bit. Oh, Mane's back going again. Sorry, Firmino, you're out. You know what I mean? Just Diaz.
Diaz in January. Oh, one of their best players now.
Must be nice, man. Must be nice. Yeah. Victor Masaka says Gundogan might leave City, so I actually see De Jong going to City. A lot of people have spoken about that. I mean, that right there. I mean, I don't even really want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable, but we have to. I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? And if it's a shootout,
I think it's real.
If it's a shootout between us and City, and Pep Guardiola picks up the phone and says, "Listen, Gundogan's leaving. I want you to play." But here's the thing on that. Obviously, in every way, shape, or form, to do with success and what's best for your career, you're going to say Manchester City, but you do have to look at it on an individual basis, because if Frankie de Jong comes to Man United under a manager that knows him very well, the selling point is that he'll play all the time. You're the main guy. Would almost pretty much build the midfield around you, really. But if he goes to City, you've got De Jong, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Bernardo Silva. Now, at the moment, Gundogan's not starting. So if you're replacing him for him, it's like, come here, see how it goes, try and work yourself into the team. On the FIFA thing where you put the squad roles, it will be sporadic or important first.
It'd be like,
member.
If the deal breaker, this is indispensable. If the deal breaker is Champions League football, then we've lost.
Then it's done.
Then we've lost. You know what I mean? But then you factor in playing for arguably the best coach in the world. Then you factor in they bought Haaland, and you're like, oh, I can play with Haaland. They're all factors. And again, if it comes down to a binary choice of United versus City, and you go, okay, well, and you go, what's your biggest thing? And it goes Champions League football. United just disappear.
Yeah,
because that's it.
Yeah, but then they go, we've got Ten Hag, and you like him, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you get like a little bit of this, just a little bit there. And it kind of looks like him as well, bald head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. To finish off that super chat, De Jong said he wants to play Champions League, so Ten Hag would need to work a miracle to get him. That's basically what we were just talking about there, Victor. Appreciate the contribution, bro. 100% agree with you there. If it's a shootout between us and City, we could be in trouble. Mark Silverbridge. That's interesting. Instead of Mark Goldbridge, it's Mark Silverbridge. Lyrics, it's going down. I'm yelling Timber. You better move. You better dance. I mean, if we do sign Timber, there's going to be some funny chants. I'll tell you.
You playing that at the party, Flex? Is that part you set?
You could bring that on your mini disc or tape cassette.
I'll bring it in with my Walkman.
Yeah, your Sony Walkman. Big up Mark Silverbridge. And there was another super chat here. Where is it? Here it is. Ollie's iPad seeking new opportunities says. What? Oh, they got that old school drawing thing.
Yeah.
You know the thing when you're young and you just twist it. It's got the little magnet things. Oh, that's funny. Sorry to be a party pooper, but none of this happens if Liverpool win the quadruple. Why take it there? Why? We have been rebuilding for years now. It is almost impossible to catch up with City/Liverpool. I've given up personally. Oof. I mean, I have said I don't think we'll get anywhere near the title if those two are still there. Personally, I just don't think we have.
Yeah, I mean, we've
I think
had this
anyone
before saying that as long as Pep and Klopp are in charge and all that kind of stuff. And I probably do agree. The one thing I will say with football is that the idea that we'll never be back, we'll be back at some point. Football's cyclical in that sense. You know, Juventus won the Serie A for a decade in a row. Now they're fourth for the last 2 years. It happens, you know, and sometimes that is because managers leave. Klopp and Pep aren't going to be at their clubs forever. I'm sure that Liverpool thought the exact same thing when United were dominating under Sir Alex for 20 odd years. You know, they probably thought we're never going to be back. We blew it. Look at our owners. Look at this. Look at that. Things change. Things do evolve, and you kind of have to just sit through pain. Not to write off and say we should be content with how shit we are right now, but we will be back one day. But I do think that as long as Pep and Klopp are there. I mean, you've got to be honest, look, you've got a coach like Thomas Tuchel that in any other era would probably be winning the league.
Yeah.
And he's like 20 points off those two. It's ridiculous.
It's mad. And what's weird is that I don't know, Liverpool fans will be able to answer this obviously better than us, but I wonder at what point they started saying, oh, this is really special and we could win leagues. Because they failed quite a bit at the start. And it's we're going in the right direction. But because they'd not won it for so long and not even been close. Well, they were close when Gerrard slipped. But apart from that, not really been close. It's like, at what point
you say that. They had their moments. Even when Sir Alex was manager, they had their moments. Remember with Benitez, the whole fax thing, whatever. They came to Old Trafford, beat us 4-1. They were top of the league. And they still blew it then.
They still blew
it. They
They
had their moments. So... And that's just because, at the time, that was their manager going up against a manager that was just dominating the league every single season.
Yeah, so even they thought, while Sir Alex is there, we won't be able to do it.
Yeah, and they probably thought that, you know. But I'm sure when Sir Alex left, immediately they didn't think, oh, this is when we're going to get back in it.
No,
they probably thought, you know, because I don't think anyone really did. But that's the thing with football. Football does change. Things change. And like I said, they're not going to be at their clubs forever. And that's the only thing we've got to hold on to. It's pretty sad.
Death by Stereo says, no one has mentioned the 5 sub rule next season. We need more than 4 to 5 players, seeing we're losing up to 10 and already miles behind in quality. We do have to think about that. But I think because we've got so much to fix, you know, we will have to look at young players or look at players that might have been just out of the fray that we just didn't expect. Because we can't buy everything in this window. And that's quality squad depth for the bench. And more importantly, you know, 4 to 5 to 6 players to come into the starting lineup, you know. There's got to be an element of Ten Hag's going, I'm going to work with him. I'm going to work with him. I'm going to get the best players out of them. I really hope, right? I really hope that we can say that at some point next season. I really hope there's some shocks where it's like, do you know what? Rightly so. We said X, Y, Z about player X, but you have to hold your hands up. So far, and let's say it's December or it's January, you say, you know what? So far, what a turnaround. I couldn't believe I'm saying this about X player. I hope so.
Fred.
Because everyone's given up. Yeah.
Like Fred's almost the only example of that this season where, and again, he still has his moments, don't get me wrong, but you sort of go, I would feel that there's
it's not what we need. We need
better,
but
but there's more of a feeling of warmth towards him than maybe there was, you know, a couple of seasons ago. You know,
it's almost like we had to separate the term McFred now. Yeah, he's his own thing now. At least,
exactly.
And even
when he comes back, if he's out the team, then he comes back in, people go, oh, that's good, Fred's back, you know.
Yeah.
Like that was not happening a couple of seasons ago.
No. And like you said, it wasn't hard to shine in a team that was so bad. I mean, obviously, the 2 stand-up performers in Ronaldo and De Gea. And other than that, we were literally talking about the other day, the third best is probably Fred. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really, really bad season. But I do hope that. I remember when one was saying it, and that will stick with me for a long time, when he said, it's not as bad as you guys think. We all say, no, it is. We're look, we're getting spanked left, right, and center. But his point was, yeah, it's because your players don't have a clue how to play. They don't have a clue how to play as a unit. Obviously, we watch game in, game out. So we're like, it's more than that. He's just shit. It's more than that. He just can't control the ball. It's more than that. He can't hit a 5-yard pass. Like, do you know what I mean? But I think the truth is somewhere in between. Some of these players can't possibly be as bad as what we're seeing, but also they definitely can't go up too much more levels. So Ten Hag will still hit a ceiling with them. So what I wouldn't mind seeing is getting the best out of, because McTominay's not going to get sold, is he? Getting the best peak out of McTominay and players like that who we say aren't good enough. But it gets to a clear level where it's like, you know what? He made it so it functions a bit better with them players, but now we've hit that ceiling after this year where, okay, we
Pep's first season at City, that kind of situation where it's like some of these players go, I tried. I think they finished third that season. There were some really good performances. There were some really bad performances. Like you said, I feel like I've improved them to an extent of I got the best out of them, but some of them just aren't good enough.
That just made me laugh. Almost like it is as bad as we see. That's what I mean. There are some players where you're like, all right, it's a bit uncomfortable.
And maybe he'll look at them. Maybe he'll have a couple of training sessions, and there might be some players where he'll just go, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and I think
that
he
will
would fall
happen.
into one of them. Yeah. But I do think there's something that he will see in some players that we won't. Again, we might not have been behind it because we're done with X, Y, Z. But we got to get behind what the manager says. Smash a like on the video, you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. About 1,400 people watching Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. You'll get there eventually. It's fine.
I was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, 9 p.m., 9 a.m. show. Wicked. What did you make of Ten Hag saying no? I don't want Phelan. Give me McLaren. What did you make of it? Being the most respectful you can. What did you make of it?
So what Flex is referring to is a story from The Athletic. Oliver Kay said that Manchester United were unsure about Erik ten Hag's proposal regarding Steve McLaren and urged him to consider the merits of Mike Phelan and Eric Ramsey, but he stood firm. Ramsey is expected to be part of the new regime, likely focusing on one-on-one work and set-piece training. There is so much in that. I mean, where do you begin with that one? First of all, okay, maybe with Eric Ramsey, focusing on one-on-one work. Okay, I think that's what he's doing under Ralph, because he's kind of apparently shifted away from set pieces. Now, some people will say this is the set piece coach. There's been a lot of sort of stick thrown at him this season of being like, how many set pieces have we scored for? At one point, it was a running joke. We hadn't scored from a corner. On the other side of the coin, you can say,
then we did.
Conceded less. Yeah, then we did. And you could also say we've conceded less from set pieces as well, which is fair, and which is the primary reason he was brought in, because we were like 19th in terms of goals conceded in the Premier League from set pieces last season. It was a joke. So that has improved. So that is what that is. The first bit, though, that Manchester United were unsure about bringing in Steve McLaren. And you go, well, okay, maybe I can understand their rationale behind that one, because I can say, well, Steve McLaren, bit behind the times and all that kind of stuff, which I don't think is a fair criticism at all. And I'll go into that in a second. But when they urged him to consider the merits of Mike Phelan, now, no disrespect to Mike Phelan, of course. Man United legend, has achieved loads at the club as a coach under Sir Alex, right? And when he came in with Ollie the first time, was a steadying hand, was experienced. We had a very inexperienced manager at a high level when he was brought in as someone that was in the previous regime and could guide him through, right? That was the situation. But it's been widely documented since Ralph Rangnick has come in that not many people really know what he actually does. Ralph said it in the press conference. What does Mike Phelan do? And he went, well, I don't really know. And again, and we sort of have a bit of a laugh, and we say he puts out the cones and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure he's there sort of liaising with the players, chatting to the players, maybe trying to speak to them, motivate them, whatever it may be. But consider Mike. Consider Mike. To me, when they say consider Mike, what they're really saying is consider Mike has like a year left on his deal. So it's actually going to cost us to get rid of him and bring in Steve on a new contract. That's what it really...
keep him about.
That's what it really sounds like. And they go... It almost sounds like, actually, why do you want Steve to come in? Well, I think, he's got experience at the club, and Also, he's done a lot in football. He knows the league, and I've got a good rapport with him, and I can bounce things off of him. And they go, we've already got one of those. Mike, come in. And they go, same here, ticks all the same boxes. But it's not the point. The point is that Ten Hag wants him. So whatever Ten Hag wants, he should get. 2, it's the personal relationship that Ten Hag has with Steve McClaren. That's the real point there, is that he's got that working relationship with him. Obviously, Ten Hag was Steve McClaren's assistant manager at FC Twente, and it was only for one season, but Steve McClaren to this day talks about how much of a details man he was and how impressed he was with Erik Ten Hag and how he scheduled the entire preseason and all that kind of stuff. Again, McClaren podcast, when he spoke about that, was excellent. And I think it's also fair, I was talking to Faz about this the other day, the idea that Steve McClaren is this guy that's really behind the times. During that entire podcast, he spoke about how...
Yeah, I haven't seen it. What was it like?
Oh, it's really, really good. It's him and his son. His son's a sports psychologist. And basically, they were talking about Ten Hag and just they talk about the title race in there as well. And he was saying that, the role of a goalkeeper's changed now. The goalkeeper's actually an outfield player, and it's more about what you're doing with your feet and your distribution and your position when you're out of the box and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, that's not an old school manager. That's modern day stuff. As I mentioned before, I know the reports are there that he might be out on the grass and doing that kind of stuff, but Steve McClaren is not going to be running day-to-day training.
No, and he's not going to be his actual assistant as well.
It's exactly. He's just going to be part of the staff. Exactly. So, and again, if that's what Ten Hag wants, and if Ten Hag said to the Manchester United, this is what I want, this is what would make me more comfortable, and most importantly, this is what I think will help me succeed and do better, then fine. Then have him, no problem. It's not so Steve McClaren's going to be our manager or anything like that. Clipped Christmas, McClaren interim charge or whatever. Could you imagine?
No.
But what did you think of that when you saw it? When it said, "Think of Mike"?
I just thought, are we not past this? Are we not past the kind of, passing the baton of the old guard? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we've achieved a lot. If we'd achieved a lot in this time, but we're making changes, I'd be like, that Champions League run we just had last year when we won the league was part of that. We won the league the year before that. Won the FA Cup. We did. If we were a successful team that was going through some change, I would be like, I can see why. We've been absolutely shocking.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be any continuity.
There doesn't. We need the complete opposite.
Yeah,
we need the complete. There doesn't need to be that familiarity with the old guard anymore. We're in a new era. This is it. This is why we're getting Ten Hag. This is why, hopefully, John Murtough is making all of these changes one after the other. They're all dropping like flies, and all the roles are getting rearranged, and not just hopefully replaced by people who were just in a different department up the alley, up the stairway or whatever in Old Trafford. Up the path, because we need tangible change, real change in a different direction. And if you, by even recommending that he keeps Phelan on, again, I don't want to discredit like what it's like having somebody about the play, because we do have a laugh and stuff like that. So, if you spoke to players, they'd probably say, Mike's always great to me, and he helps me.
I'm sure.
He has conversations with me to calm down, and it's like having a person just
stuff.
It's about the place. It's about the place. It's about the place. But in terms of the level needed to really change things, like, it's not it, is it? And if a new manager's coming in and he says he wants Steve McClaren, don't be surprised that he don't want your guy. Let him have his guy. That's what this is about.
And to be honest, the United connection, I probably think has little to really do with it. The connection's more about the connection between Ten Hag and McClaren, and that he just knows the English league. It just happens that McClaren was the assistant manager at Manchester United in 1999. Yeah. That's probably, and they were together at FC Twente as well.
They know each
other. That's what I mean. That's the most important thing. The important connection isn't necessarily that McClaren used to be at United. I think the more important connection is that McClaren knows Ten Hag and Ten Hag knows McClaren. But
the sensationalism will go with the sensationalist side will go with Man United just getting the old guard in again. When this actually isn't that.
No, exactly. I agree.
I hear what you're saying. Tyrone Butler says, "What's your thoughts on Skamaka? He another option for up front. Sassuolo striker. I don't know loads about him, to be honest with you. I don't. I have no idea. I did just check quickly. Scored 16 goals in the league this year. See AC Milan are looking at him as well. But I
get KG on the comps. Future KG comp show.
Do you know what? Drop that to KG. Drop a little DM to him. Drop that to him, and I'm sure he will come back to you with a far more accurate scouting report than I can.
Yes.
I would just admit I've never seen him play, mate, and I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. Guys, wicked show, wicked show, great fun. You know, pretty much just under 1,500 people watching, which is great this time in the morning, especially for us. Like I said, you will get your daily dose every morning, 9 a.m. So see you guys then. Smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and if you haven't done so already, it's another plug to the 100K subscriber party and our first birthday. Imagine that, we're not even 1 yet. That's incredible. We're 104,000 subscribers. We're not even 1 year old yet.
So much has happened in a year.
Community. That's what I'm saying. In less than a year. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's mad. And that's every single one of you guys at home around the world who have put us in this position. So we want to celebrate with you guys. We want as many of you guys to come as possible. Would love to meet you guys in person and extend the thanks and just chop it up and have a laugh, man. So on the 19th of June, the links for tickets are in the video description below. So make sure you guys go and grab your tickets, and we'll hopefully see you there. We'll be back this evening with another video at 6 p.m. Take care, people. Peace.